ברוך אתה ה' Elam שהכל נברא.
Ajá.
Chaim v'bracha. So we're going to conclude today the Maimar Nila Doidim. Then we'll start with a preparation for Rosh Hashanah. This is all preparation for Rosh Hashanah. Anila Doidi. Okay. A general idea of divine service, and in particular, the idea of tshuva, penitence, even though, penitence is in particular means going out of your what's called keli, your vessel, meaning your comfort zone, your habit, right? That's the vessel that sort of contains us. So when you're getting out of that, if you will, the comfort zone, your that comfort zone is a material world, right? Which you come to recognize that things in the material world can be an obstacle and are an obstacle for tshuva, for any divine service. They can be. Not only they can be, they are, in fact, right? Not just that they can be, but in fact they are. Certain things at least. So we recognize. So the natural tendency would be to try to break from that, to break from those material things, those things that just bring us, a comfort. They keep us sort of, um, contained. I mean, just think about when you're in your comfort zone, you're self-contained, you're satisfied. Um, that's not tshuva. That's not return. That's not the idea of divine service. So, you said break from those things. So says the Rebbe, no, don't break from it, but affect it. That they shouldn't be something that hold you back from Torah mitzvahs. But so actually, okay, this is a novel approach. So let me perhaps give the example. The best example is probably, a phone, a smartphone. It's a material thing that no doubt can serve as an obstacle to hold you back from tshuva, from divine service. No question about it. So there are many religious Jews, committed Jews, who are doing tshuva, wanting to connect to Hashem. They break from that, from it, and and maybe rightfully, maybe they need to. But excuse me. So really what it should be is to affect it, that it should be in the service of, you know, and of course the smartphone is a perfect example because it is something, for example, you know, now the class that's being given is because of the technology that's available. So it is in many places, but at the same time, it's something to be careful. Which I see myself, how it's easy that you could get drawn into it. They created that it should be addictive. The various apps. So sometimes it might mean a person maybe, I have son-in-laws who, they're just in business, so they have a flip phone. That way they're not always with a smartphone and with everything, so easily available. So instead of breaking from it, they now just use it in a way that it should be not holding you back from your divine service, but it can be used. Or you use it, in a way that it should be just to help you to connect to Hashem, to bring more teachings to more people, right? Excuse me, just 1 second. Sorry. Okay. So that's interesting that that take, because there are very, you know, committed religious people, religious Jews, you know, Haredi, who who would just break from the material thing and not have it at all. So similarly, yeah, when you have inside of you uh, a desire, a movement in you that you want towards godliness, which will express itself, you know, as you are here learning, right? As that you pray, that you give tzedakah, charity, that you are, seeking, like where your world is seeking another mitzvah, right? That and not just you seek, you can seek another mitzvah for the reward, or you can seek another mitzvah because godliness is good. And you feel the goodness in it, right? You feel the goodness when we learn. You feel the goodness when you pray. You feel the goodness when you give tzedakah, charity, and the like, right? So the that movement that is of the soul that wants a connection and wants to rise beyond should be targeted towards the material world that you engage in, that it too, you know, should be an expression of godliness. In other words, that that's, you could look at this and just say, oh, so many addictions, for sure. And that yes, there are many addictions, but but for yourself, that's not what you should feel. For yourself, you should feel, ah, this is a vehicle that I can really connect to others, that I can, say hello, see my daughter, see my son, my grandchildren, and connect more deeply with them. So it becomes a vehicle for godliness, right? Where I can, wish them good Shabbos and say, share some meaningful words with them. Today, I learn once a week with my daughters, Tanya. So it's a vehicle, that not only that we all see each other at the same time, catch up on things. That if I, some of them I just spoke yesterday. So today will be, won't be that much of a catch up, or maybe, but connection. See how they're doing, what, engaged and involved in their lives, and so on. So when you recognize the good, the godliness that it can be used for, right? Um, in other words, rather than seeing the good and the godliness in a way that removes you from this world, see how the things of this world could be harnessed to bring godliness to it. So, and that ties in with the notion that we speaking previously, the makeup of our body and soul. That the soul, remember, wants to remove itself. It wants just a connection. It doesn't care of what's down here in this world. The body only cares what's in this world and how it could serve the body. And now the compound makeup of these two things, they have to engage in. So it has to be your godly soul to bring the message of that the body should recognize that godliness is good. And therefore, the material world that it is drawn towards is going to be a material world that's going to be transparent to something godly. This is Anila Doidi Vidoidi Li, and this is then in conclusion. I am to my beloved, and my beloved it's me, Roy Bishashanim, the shepherd in the field, in the 13 petal roses, that the shepherd in the field means that the empowerment from above, in order that our tshuva, and in particular in the month of Elul, that comes from within, that we can achieve what we need. So in order that you can achieve in the month of Elul and the tshuva, the return, the penitence, that is, dependent on us. And as we explained over here, to draw that in, right? And my soul to bring it into the material world that I am need to engage in. So I need an empowerment from above in the makeup of my soul and body, that in order that I could be Anila Doidi, that I could be in the month of Elul, that I should from within come closer to Hashem. Penitence, return in that closeness in the way it's supposed to be. So we'll be through the Raya V'Sheshanim, through the shepherd, meaning God is the shepherd, that gives us the power, that we should have the right makeup between body and soul, that this body will be able to hear the message of the soul. The soul's message is godliness. That's what it wants. And so instead of wanting godliness and therefore leave this world, no, bring it down into the body, that the body should appreciate, should sense. What it wants is just, have a good life. So instead of thinking that a good life is a material world for its and the material pleasure, material success is a good thing in and of itself. No, it's a good thing because it's infused with a sense of godliness. So it doesn't mean that you should, be impoverished in the material world. No. Be extremely successful and have a lot, but recognize that all of it is to be infused with a sense of divine purpose, divine need. And which is Anila Daidi. I've got to bring it. So I'm empowered that from above, and that's what Torah and mitzvahs give us, an empowerment, right? The Torah that we learn is that the soul can then empower the body, that the body that wants pleasure. So guess what your pleasure is? Pleasure is in doing another mitzvah. Your pleasure is in learning Torah. Not just your soul has that pleasure, because if your soul would have that pleasure and would only remain there, actually the soul doesn't have, it's not the soul's pleasure. It's the soul's drive. It's its desire. It wants to connect. It wants to be, right? But to bring it to the body is what has pleasure. So that we can now bring that that the body's pleasure is a mitzvah. Right? There's a hayom that said a thought of the day from the Rebbe um, that one of the highest ways to serve God is that you literally have a pleasure to do an act of loving kindness to another. To give that feeling it, to give it, rather than to having it for yourself, to have something more. Oh, this could buy me, a diamond earring. Oh, this could buy me, a nicer car. And you give it. But you give it in a way that you have a pleasure in giving it. That means your soul has talked to your body, inspired the body, and that's real tshuva. Literally, have a pleasure in giving. Literally, that you have a pleasure in the learning. Not, you need to learn, and can become, uh, you know, a effort. Now, with that, you still need to put in effort to, you know, but that on top of it, effort. But here the point is that the body should sense the good in godliness. And with that, we conclude. That becomes the Avodah Ranila Doidi. Doidi Li. Let's conclude the Mimer. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'bracha.
L'chaim. Thank you, Rabbi Chaim.
Mazel tov to everybody. In Baruch Hashem. All right.
Thank you, Rabbi.
We'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.